Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rohit. Today we'll talk about a new topic called data stream in Flow Designer. So what is data stream and why it is useful? We'll talk about that and then we'll go back to that practical example that how we can use the data stream in the Flow Designer. So to understand before that data stream, you have to understand what is the pagination. Okay. So data stream is mostly used for get the data using REST message, SOAP message, or the JDBC connections, and then it process and it's stored in your service instance. But before you go back to your data stream, you have to be clear understanding of that what is the pagination. So what is the pagination? Pagination is like if you are asking or if you are calling to the products table and the products tables have a millions of products. In that case, the server will be hang and then the data will not become properly. So in that case, what we can do, we can actually call the party up to some limits. Maybe if you are calling the total database size is 200, right? And then you can limit that 20 data. So first you will get the 20 data. After that, the next you will get another 20 data in the next page. So first you will get the 20 data from page 1, then secondly you will get the 20 data from page 2. Okay, so that way you can continuously get that keep changing the page and then you can start getting the data. So that is we call pagination. So instead of getting that millions of data together, we can split into the multiple pages and then that page data we can get that. Okay, so here is the example. You can see that we are getting the limit up to 20 and then from the page 1 we are getting the 20 data and from the page 2 we'll get that again 20 data. Like on we will get that in this 3 page we'll get total 60 data. Okay, so similarly if you see this is the SQL query. From the SQL query what we are doing, select star from product order by ID and limit 20 data. So I am getting the 20 data. Here is the very important factor is the offset. What is the offset? Offset is nothing but the page ID from where I should get the data. Okay, so if you see here, when exposing the large data set through the API, it needs to provide the mechanism to paginate the list of resources. So that's we call the pagination. So let's understand in the next slide. So let's say if you have this much of data till this point, and then you are divided this whole data into 20, maximum 20. So we use the count equal to 20 and then starting will be 0 and then here it will be end into the 20. So this will be the page 1, P1, and then from here that that offset will be 20. Right now the start point was 0. Now the start point is 20 and again it will be end to the 40 point or maybe the count 40. Okay, so this point will be the page 2 maybe. Okay, and then in the page 3 you will get another data page 3 and this time your start will be you are going to start is the 40 and then you are actually ending the maximum count is the 20. So that's where you can keep on changing or keep on getting the data. Okay, so that's we call that the index or this is the starting 20, this starting was 0, these all index and this is starting on the 40, this all index we call that offset. And then the limit is the maximum count how much we are getting, that is called 20. So understand that what is limit and what is the offset. We are going to use this offset and limit in our actual practical scenario. And there is one more important factor is that get next page equal to true, which means that once you reach to the end then you don't it is the end, right? So after that you don't need to keep on calling the data, right? Because your page is ended and that time you will set that value equal to false until unless whenever the page get next page equal to true, it will keep on calling the next page. Okay, so let's see in the ServiceNow ServiceNow also have a pagination. Okay, so they are using the sysparam limit in the table level API. So this is the sysparam limit and this is the sysparam offset where you can define that in which level you are actually where should be your start. Okay, this is the sysparam query where you should define that which based on which you are getting the data. We'll show in example in a bit later. Now this is my example of the ServiceNow API, table level API. Here you can see I'll start fetching the incident where the sysparam query is active equal to true and order by sys created on, and then we are getting the field number and state, and then our limit is 2, so we'll get 2 data in a one time, and then we'll start from 1 and we'll keep increasing that. So let's see the actual demo and then we'll start in the flow designer. So now this is my incident table, and in this incident table, if I up to date by created, so let's add the created field here. And add that. So this is my incident from where I have added the created field, and then I'll do that created field filter. So you can see it's right now Z to A. I'll do the A to Z. Okay. So this is my created field, and this is the starting of this one is the 007. Now go back to our this one. I'll copy this one and then paste into the Postman. So I'll open the Postman first. In this Postman, I'll paste that URL first. Okay. So once I put the URL, it is divided into that all the query. So what we are trying to do, we are getting that sysparam field equal to number and state, and then what we the query we are doing active equal to true and ordered by sys created on. So this is the filter. Now instead of getting 84 data together, we can split this 84 into 20 part, and then we can start getting that. Okay, so let's do that. So in this start, if you see starting point, this is our starting point, and if I go open this Postman and then limit, I'll put the 20, and then offset, I will starting from, this is my, let's take example, I'll start from the 0. From here I'll get till 20 data. So let's go back. I'll put that offset equal to 20, offset equal to 0. So I'll start from the 0, and the first page I'll get only 20 data. So I'll do here and then show 20. Okay, so in first page it will only show the 20 data. If you can see, so this is my last data 505, and then this is the 007. So in this first page also I can get the 20 data. So I'll hit the send button and click the pretty. You can see it is starting with the 007, which is starting from here. So total I get the 20 data. So the point I am trying to make here, in first call we get only 20 data. Okay, so this is my 20 data, and offset is 0. So when I call the API, I'll get that 20 data. Again my offset will be changed to 20, and again I need another 20 data, and click send. It will give me another 20 data, which is starting from 0020. Let's do that. So you can see then the second page I get another 20 data, which is belongs to this one, and I am getting 20 data. So in that way we can keep calling, instead of getting 84 data or maybe millions of data together, we can keep changing that, keeps doing that paging, and then keep getting the data. Okay, so in that way we can get the data continuously. Okay, so these things will implement actually in our flow designer. So let's see how we can do that. So this is my flow designer. I'll implement this data stream or pagination concept in our ServiceNow flow designer. So first in the flow designer, you have to click here new, and then you have two options called data stream. By that you can create the data stream. Okay, in the data stream you can put the name. So I'll put that ServiceNow incident, or maybe ServiceNow data, and then I'll submit that. So once you submit that, you can see normally in that actions there are no such thing called action, pre-processing, request, parsing. These methods are not available, but in our case it will be available. Very first thing is that we have that actions pre-processing, and then that pre-processing is nothing but you can process something script before you go back to the do the request. So okay, so you can run this one. We'll come this point later, and then if you go back to the request, you have a options that what type of integration you are trying to do, REST, SOAP, or JDBC. So even JDBC, if you have 10 lakhs of data, you can do that 1,000 data in a pagination, and you can do that. Similarly for SOAP and REST message. So in our case, we'll select the REST and we'll click OK. And then here you have a call enable pagination. So if you want to grab all the data together, that's the one point, but data stream main purpose to that pagination. So I'll click that enable pagination. So just notice that whenever we are changing these options, there will be keep on adding that activity. So I'll click that enable pagination. So once I enable the pagination, you can see the pagination setup is added here. And then here is our REST message details. So we'll set first REST message detail, and then we'll come back to the pagination later. So here in the connection aliases, I'll go back and then define that connection inline. And in this connection inline, I have to be set that base URL. So go back to the postman. So this is our postman. So this is in this postman, this is our base URL. I'll copy this base URL. And here we have a resource path, or maybe you can say the relative path. I'll copy this relative path from API to this incident. Okay. And then after that, we have a multiple query, or you can say that query parameter. We'll put those into bottom line. So I'll put that query parameter here. I'll put this is this query parameter. And then there is one more query parameter. I'll put that. And then here we'll get that number and state. So this value, I'm doing that hard coded. And then we do have a sysparam limit. So what will be our maximum limit? We'll define here. And then we have a one more thing called offset. From where should we start the data? So this is our offset data. Okay. So that's it here. Now we have to be set the credentials here. I'll create a new credential. Here our case is the basic auth. And then I'll put the name. So let's take a name is ServiceNow own. And then here I'll put that username is admin, and password I'll put. And then here credential aliases, we have to create a aliases here. So I'll create a new credential aliases here. This time this connection credential will be only credential, and then I'll put that ServiceNow own, because I am going to use the same instance where I am going to query the same instance itself only. I'll save that. Here I'll set that ServiceNow own and submit. So this is connection, everything is done. So here we have to be put the sysparam query, and we have to be put the table name. So I'll go back to the inputs, and I'll create two inputs here. One inputs, we can say that table name, and that field will be mandatory. And there will be one more field called query, and that field also will be mandatory. These two fields we are actually making mandatory so that we can get the actual data. In the request, here in the steps, instead of putting that hard-coded value, we'll pick from the pillar inputs table name. Here in the sysparam query, we'll get input query. Okay, and then we have to define the sysparam limit and offset. That's it for this one. So I'll go back to the pagination setup. You can see this is the pagination, and then first variable's value is the get next page is false. So if your get next page false, then if the script determine that get next page false, then it won't be go to the next page. So what I'll do, you have a options called view template. Just click on that, and then limit and offset is a one template. You can apply that. So once you apply that, what it will automatically generate two variables. One is the offset, another is the limit. So in first each page we'll get the 10 data and then our offset will be 0. So we'll starting, this is our initial value. We'll start from 0 and then limit will be 100. Limit will be 10. So we are trying to get the 84 data, right? So this is our 84 data. So we will call that 9 time and then this offset, and in 9 time we'll get 10 data in each page, and last time we'll get the 4 data, because 8 time we'll get the 80 data and then last time we'll get the 4 data. Okay, so maximum limit is the our 10. Okay, if you see this script, I'll explain this script by default. So what we are doing, this is the variable called offset. So we are grabbing that variables.offset and then we are parsing that value. Offset is parsing 0 and then this limit is the 10. Now what we are doing, whenever this script will be processed, each time this script will be evaluated and then whatever value is there, if you see, we are actually incrementing the offset. Offset means, so what we are doing, the first time offset is 0 and then limit is 10. Second time offset will be 10 and then limit will be 10, because limit plus offset we are doing. If you see, offset plus limit. Second time our offset, this is our offset and then this is our limit. Okay, so first time the offset is 0 and the limit is 10. Second time what we are doing, offset plus limit, which is the 10, and then third time what will we do, offset plus limit, which is 20, and then offset limit will be always static because we are always getting 10 data. Then we'll keep on increasing. So then offset plus limit, which is will be 30, like that it will be increased. The limit will be static, but this offset value will be keep on adding. So offset means that the array or pointer will be keep on changing then from where I should get the data. Okay, but in certain point we have to be stopped, so we'll do that. So here if you see, as I mentioned, the get next page is false, default value is false, you cannot change. So if the get next page is false, the page will not go to the next page, that the after first page it will not go to the second page. So what we can do here, we can define the variables dot get next page equal to true. So once we make it true, it will keep getting the data, it will keep changing the next page, it will keep changing the next page, but certain time we have to be stopped, so we'll do that. So how will in certain time how will stop that, I'll come to that point. Okay, now if I go back to this REST message here, here we have to be set the limits. So we click the pillar and then pagination, and then we'll set the limit. So whatever limit will be there, and in the offset it will be keep changing on based in this pagination setup script, and then we'll set offset from there. So it will be first 10, then will be 20, the 30, it will be keep on changing here. Okay, and then if you go back to here in this pre-processing, I'll enable the pre-processing. Why, I'll tell you that. So here what I'll do, I'll create a variables called table, and then I'll create one more variable called query, and then these two value will become from the inputs, table and then query. Okay, what I want to do here, I want to know the maximum count of the incident, and I also want to know that how much page I should call, how much page I should call the 9 time, right? So that I have to be know. Okay, so what I'll do here, I'll do var gr equal to new glide record, and in this time I will put the inputs and then I'll put the table. So inputs dot table is nothing but from here we are getting that, and then what we'll do, the gr dot add encoded query, and inside that we'll put inputs dot query. Okay, now we'll get that var max inc count, which is nothing but gr.get row count. By that I'll get the maximum how many incident I have in this table. Okay, and then finally what we'll do, we'll find out the page. So I'll do it that page count equal to max. So this one the variable, so max count, and what is the page count or limit we have, that is the 10. So each page we are getting 10, so this will return me that maximum page count, right? So total count divided by each page, that is the maximum count, right? So now what I'll do, I'll create two variable with that same name called max incident here, and let's see if there is any integer. And then one more variable I'll create called page count. Okay, and then these two variable outputs dot max count equal to max count, and then outputs dot page count equal to page count. Okay, so basically in these steps we are identify that how many pages we are going to use and then how many value we are going to use. Okay, now going back to here in the pagination steps. So as I mentioned that I'll create one variables here. So let's create one variable called page count, and this page count will be come from that script page count. Okay, so what I'll do here in this case, I'll create one more variable called current page. Okay, initial value of this current page will be our case is the 0, or maybe initial value is the 1. And then here what we'll do, that variables dot, I'll copy this part here, variables dot current page count equal to variables dot I'll keep on increasing the page count. Okay, and then once our current page count, this one will be, if this one will be increased to that page count of that we are expecting, then we'll set this equal to false, and then else we'll make this true. So let me explain you guys. So what we are doing here, as I mentioned, that variable get next page needs to be turned off in certain point. So in this script, what we are doing, we are querying to the table and we are finding the maximum page. So if we are getting the 84 record, right? So 84 divided by 10 will get the 8. So that will be our max page, right? So once we get that maximum page is 84, or page number is 8, right? We'll come to this pagination, and then initially we are storing that page count equal to 8. Now our current page is we are setting as 1, and then what we are doing, maybe I can set the current page equal to 0, and what we are doing here, we will keep adding the current page. So whenever this pagination will be called, we are keep adding that current page is 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. It will be keep increasing. So once the current page variable will be crossed to our 8, or that pagination count, maximum page count, that value will be stops. Otherwise it will be keep increasing that. Okay, so that keep changing that page. So that is the one thing. Now here we have defined everything in this case. Now we have to go back to the parsing rule. What is the parsing rule? I'll come to that. So before you see the parsing rule, we are getting the result, and then the result have a 10 data in a array segment, right? And then this is the starting point, or the root, the result, which is holding all our child number or incident number, right? So these number state, these are the child a number which is holding the result, right? So what I'll do, I'll select that parsing rule JSON and XML parser, here script parser, and then if you see here in parsing rule, two variables are created. One variable is that it is asking that source format. In our case, we are getting in a JSON format, and from which I have to do that. So I'll put the dollar dot result, because the result is holding the our all the data. In the parsing rule, I'll set the result. Okay, done. So now we'll define the output. We have to have get the data. So we'll create the output, create output, and this time we'll select the object. And then what we'll do, that incident details or maybe incident. And inside the incident, what we are getting actually, the first we are getting the number, and then second we are getting that state, something like that. These two value we are getting. Now these two values should be mapped in our script parser steps. So if you see here, this is our script parser steps, which have example of for the JSON, and this is example for XML. So we'll define here. So this is the data. I'll just uncomment those lines and explain you guys. Okay, so here it is done. So if you see line number 13, we have the inputs dot source item. Source item nothing but this is the source format and this is the source item. Source item nothing but this is the result, and from here we'll getting the source item. So this item is our source item here, and then item, what is the key value? Here we are getting the number and then state. So we'll select the number, item dot number, and then we are getting the state. We are not getting the third value, so I'll remove that one. Now in the outputs, what all variables we have declared, the first is the number, so I'll put that number, and then here I'll put the state. So these are the variable backend name, number and state. I'll change to the script here and then set that target object equal to number and then state. Okay, so this value we are getting that from this array, we are getting number and state, and we are mapping to that output object. So that's it, all save. I'll click the save button and save that. Now I'll make a note of that parsing step or this offset or pagination will be depends on different API have a different concept. So make sure you are incorporating the paginations in proper way, because in our case, in our API, it is coming as a sysparam offset. In different case, it can be different. Okay, for different API, it can be date, it can be time, something like that. Our case, it's a array, so we define that array. Okay, now we'll click the test button. So once we click the test button, if you see, it's showing that the maximum data we can get the 20 data. So for that, because if it is actually hitting to that production and it can build the 1 million data, it should not be there like that. Like the way we click the test 20 data in the transform map, it only give you the 20 data. So I'll put the incident here and then query. What query we are actually expecting, active equal to true, and then order by is created on. I'll copy that and then put that active equal to true and order by is created on. Once I hit that, it should give me some result. So now you can see the script executed properly. So let's see. So you can see the ServiceNow data stream. If I see here, it's have a page count true 2, and then if you see the result, it have a give you that data. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, something like that. It give you the data. Okay, we'll come back to here, and then if you see here page count. So first, let's see. This is the pagination setup, which we have variables. So here is some issues. If you see the pre-processing script, that our expectation should be max incident count should give us the result of that incident, and then page count should be divided by 2. Somehow it is not coming properly, so that's the reason it's only run for 1 time or 2 time, and then it's give that result. So we'll see that in the query and the first. So this is our first page, page 1. You can see data page 1, which have which actually give you the data. So this is the first data you get, that so 007 something like that, this data you get. And then in the second page we can see that what data we get. So if I go page, change the page, we'll get the second page, and then in the second page our get next page equal to false, because for that it says that execution has halted because the get next page variable was set to false. Because of this first pre-processing input, I mean this one pre-process input data, which does not give you the proper result, it is giving, I mean it is not working. So we'll work on that and then fix that, because our expectation should be the 20 data, because maximum it can give you the 20 data, but it's only give you the 9 data or maybe 10 data. It's starting with the 0 and it's ending with the 9 data. It means that only it came the first page. We'll fix that. If I go back to the actions here, in this actions, if you see the pre-processing script, what we have done, inputs.table and then gr.add query, and then we have not do the gr.query keyword, so that might be one reason. I'll save that and then test one more time. Here is the one more thing I want to highlight here. So if you see here, our it will give the maximum incident count, which is the 84, and 84 divided by 10 is the 8, but we should get the 9, because it should give us the 9, not the 8, because that should be the maximum page count, right? What we can do, we can use the ceiling method to fix that. We'll come to that point, but let's test right now. So incident, and here we'll do that active equal to true, and run test, because this time it will only run the 8 time, and then it can be rest 4 data will be missing. So we'll fix that later, but let's run this time. So if you execute that, so now if you go back to the pre-processing script here, it gives me that maximum incident count is the 54, and then page count it's give me the 5.4, but I should get the 6, and then only it will resolve my issue, because I have to use the ceiling method. Okay, and then if you see here the page count, and in this page count you will get that the data. So what we'll do that, if I scroll up and click here, now I am getting the 19 data, because maximum I can get that test by testing the 20 data. Okay, so what we'll do, two things will right now, what two things we'll fix here. Our case, we'll fix that, we'll put the ceiling method here, and then the next we'll do that, we'll use actual flow to get that 54 data incident table. If I do active equal to true, there is a 54 data, so we'll call the 5 time and get the data. We'll see that how it works. So we'll go to the active equal to true, so we should probably get the 54 data. So this 54 data will do that. To ceiling the data, what we'll do that, math.ce ceiling method, and which will, so math.ceil method will return me, instead of 5.4 data, it will give me the 6, because I need to go to the 6th page for that. Okay, so let's publish this flow, or maybe this data stream, and then I will use in actual flow. Instead of 20 data, if I use into the flow, I'll get all the data. So our action is saved. I will create a flow for the timing. I'll click new and then click flow, and then here I'll click that data stream flow testing, and then here I'll click submit. Triggering point, I'll right now will select that schedule method. So I'll click here and then we'll select the daily, and then this time I'll be run. And here I will click the action. And in our case, our data stream action name is the service now data. And we'll click there. Table name is the incident, and then our query will be active equal to true. Okay, and once we add it, it's create a for each loop. So what is the for each? This for each loop help us to keep on doing something like keep on if you. So in this for each, what we can do, we can probably do a lot of things. We can update the incident. We can do that a lot of things. For the timing, I'll put into the logs. I'll put that in those incident details into the logs. So I'll select the logs method here. And then in the logs, I'll post it that 54 incident number. So we'll do that integration, then colon. We will use that incident number and their state. So we'll select that service now data, and this return the incident. So I'll select the number, and then probably I'll paste little bit space, and then I can use the state also. So I'll change to the state. So that's it, and then I'll click the test button. It should give me that actual result, the 54 time, and then it should run the 6 page. So let's run that. So once I executed, this is completely executed. I open this execution, and then you can see I have get the 54 records basically, and then it's pasted all these in our incident in log. So if you open that, if you see here, our page is total. If you see, it's run, keep on run, it's keep on running, and then it's keep on adding the logs. Okay. If I go back to the incident, system log table, and type integration, something like that, and remove that script here. And you can see that we get the 54 record, which is actually updated. So that's it all about my for today. Please subscribe, share, and help me to grow this channel. Thank you very much. Have a great day.